Straight ahead on CCX News, it's been a boom for apartment building. Now a major project is coming to Maple Grove. Plus, a distinction for Brooklyn Center schools that could help save lives. And from Main Street to the shops and beyond, how Maple Grove plans to grow small business. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Johnson. Another major apartment project could be coming to Maple Grove. The Maple Grove Planning Commission will review plans for not only dozens of new apartments, but also townhomes. And Eric Nelson joins us now with more on that story. Eric?
Yeah, Mike, Trident Development in St. Cloud has formally applied to build on a piece of vacant farmland in Maple Grove. Trident's vision is to add 167 residential units in the city, which includes 98 three-story apartments and 69 row-style townhomes. The project is called Elm Creek Estates.
We don't, at this level, get into and drill down into the details of landscaping and other minutia like that, including grading and so forth. It's more of the idea that's floated out there. You know, ultimately the council like the idea of having this mixture of housing styles up in that part of the city.
Now, the apartments and townhouses would be located between County Road 81 and Territorial Road just east of Fernbrook Lane. There are approximately 2,000 apartment units in Maple Grove, so this would increase the available renting pool. This is clearly the early stages of the process, but some city officials believe the project has a good chance of being approved.
Concept plan itself that shows the generalized layout of the units and their relationship to internal roadways to provide access to those units. And even though this particular time of review doesn't technically consider architecture, the applicant has provided some architectural renderings.
The apartment complex will have surface and underground parking. Main access to the units would be from Fernbrook Lane and County Road 81. Mike?
All right, Eric, thanks. A record rainfall and flooding back in September took a toll on some neighborhoods in Maple Grove and Brooklyn Park, but relatively few people are asking for government assistance.
The types of things we're seeing, of course, are flooding in the basements, some personal property damages, and not to mention the furnaces and the hot water heaters.
But after being open about a month, the Federal Disaster Recovery Center in Brooklyn Park will close on Wednesday. That's because not enough people were coming in need of help. Officials say many people probably took care of flooding issues themselves.
People up here take care of each other. Family, friends, and a lot of people have the attitude here that if I don't need the money, let somebody else, you know, have it that needs it more than I do.
Even though the office closes on Wednesday, you can still register with FEMA until the end of the month by calling them on the phone 1-800-621-FEMA. The city of Plymouth wants to make some changes to its wildlife management policy. The last time the policy was revised was back in 2006, and at that time it only primarily applied to geese. The new plan would include management of deer, beaver, turkey, and coyote. The guidelines will focus on public safety and health. That includes a public awareness effort urging residents not to feed animals. The city would also focus on planting vegetation that would deter animals from migrating to urban areas and installing buffer zones around ponds.
A buffer zone like on a pond would be to let the vegetation grow up around the pond so that generally then some of the birds like geese would not want to go into that pond because they don't know what a predator might be in that area. So by having a taller vegetation, it prevents animals from wanting to go through that.
Now, the issue will be discussed at the Plymouth City Council meeting on Tuesday night. Officials from the City of Brooklyn Center and the Brooklyn Center School District will receive a special designation tonight. As Delane Cleveland reports, a partnership between the district and Brooklyn Center's fire department has given more than 1,000 people the skills to potentially save a life.
Nearly 1,000 students are enrolled in grades 6 through 12 at Brooklyn Center's Arts and IB World School.
I wanted to make sure that we're doing things that are going to prepare our students to be the best versions of themselves.
Principal Carly Jarva wanted them all to have a specific set of skills.
We believe that our responsibility is to make sure that our students are having their needs met, not only from an academic standpoint, but from a social and emotional standpoint as well.
Thanks to an initiative that began last year in partnership with the Brooklyn Center Fire Department, students in each class at the secondary school now know what to do in case someone suffers a sudden cardiac arrest.
It's amazing how many lives have been touched by the spontaneous cardiac arrest. This happens far too often, and there's no way to plan for and anticipate.
That's why the students in grades 6 through 12 received training in how to do hands-only CPR, and they also learned how to use the 4 AEDs on site.
The research tells us that it increases the chances of a person's survival by up to 85% if they're exposed to an AED when they're in that spontaneous cardiac arrest moment.
The training in CPR and AED use has helped the school earn the distinction of being known as a HeartSafe campus. But more importantly, it provides the students with the knowledge that could make them lifesavers in an emergency situation.
When they're with their families at home, in stores, just moving around the community, they would have these skills to be able to call upon, God forbid, if something were to ever happen.
In Brooklyn Center, Blaine, Cleveland, CCX News.
The school will officially be honored with the HeartSafe campus designation at tonight's Brooklyn Center City Council meeting. The school officials say they plan to provide refresher courses to the students every couple of years. The city of Osseo will consider a shift in recycling to include more organic waste. City Council will vote on a new funding agreement with Hennepin County. That agreement shifts more funds to recycle more organic waste, which includes food and compostable paper. Hennepin County estimates that organic waste makes up about 1/4 of residential trash. Well, here's something for motorists to watch out for this weekend. If you plan on using I-94 in Maple Grove, you will have to take a detour. MnDOT is closing 94 to through traffic from the Fish Lake interchange to the new intersection with Highway 610. That's because workers will be taking down the bridge on 101st Avenue. The detour will use Highways 169 and 610. And local traffic to Weaver Lake Road will be allowed, but you won't be able to continue west on I-94. The closure starts Friday night and runs to 5 a.m. next Monday morning. A unique fundraiser over the weekend is aimed at helping to bring soldiers together after they serve. More than 90 people played dodgeball to raise as much as $3,000 for a nonprofit set up by a Crystal woman. Mary Henry first organized a soldiers' reunion last summer for her son's unit that fought in a devastating battle in Afghanistan. And she says that experience led her to set up an organization called Reuniting After War to help other soldiers, combat soldiers, reunite.
As the guys were leaving, they said, be sure to do this for other units. We had a great time. One pulled me aside and actually said, this may have saved my life. I mean, he said, I didn't even know I was depressed until I was around these guys. They didn't really talk about, their war experiences from what I heard, but they were just together and they got each other. They didn't have to pretend to be anybody that they weren't.
The group's first 2 reunions are planned for this summer, and if you'd like more information, you can check the website reunitingafterwar.org. Coming up, how Maple Grove hopes to grow small business. We'll explain next in Business Matters. Then later in sports, many of the state's best high school gymnastics teams come to Brooklyn Park. But first, heavier snow expected tonight into Tuesday. Stock shares of Golden Valley-based CyberOptics finished on the upside today. The Golden Valley company is coming off a banner year in which it had the best performing stock in Minnesota. Shares of CyberOptics more than tripled in value in 2016 after it introduced a 3D scanning machine. CyberOptics was founded in the 1980s by University of Minnesota electrical engineering professor Stephen Case. Case died in 2009 after a plane crash at the Crystal Airport. Maple Grove is the latest city to offer a program designed to help start a successful small business or nurture an existing one. In this week's Business Matters, Alexandra Renslow takes a look at the Open to Business program.
From Maple Grove's Main Street to the shops at Arbor Lakes and beyond, it's small business that helps fuel the community.
Industry is kind of the backbone of a community, whereas small businesses is kind of the heart and soul of a community.
The city estimates there are more than 1,700 small businesses currently in Maple Grove, but there's always the opportunity to grow more.
We know that that talent is out there in the community. We just want something to help bring that forward.
Enter Open to Business.
It's just an opportunity to get an objective third-party view to your business.
Nearly 7 years after the program's start, Open to Business, with its one-on-one advising and loan program, helps budding entrepreneurs and existing business owners better understand the landscape.
What I try to direct them to is, okay, test it now to see if other people like your product, and see if there's enough of other people who like your product that will make this a viable business.
The program has helped businesses like Robbinsdale's Travail restaurant expand, and it helped Omni Brewing Company open its doors.
Does this program really work? Well, it's a good example. This program really does work.
It's why, starting this month, Maple Grove is offering the Open to Business program at its government center. Free business counseling appointments are available the second Tuesday of each month.
So I'm looking forward to being in Maple Grove, helping startup businesses, existing businesses.
Small business helps to bring jobs and more personal variety to a community. Maple Grove is always open to more.
There's a lot that a small business can offer to a community that you might not get with a larger business.
Last year, Open to Business advisors met with close to 900 entrepreneurs in the area. And for more information on setting up an appointment in Hennepin County, you can call them at 612-843-3260. Coming up, a retired cop turned Santa cop. But first, top-ranked Champlin Park chalks up another win in boys basketball. John Jacobson has that and more next in sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. The number of boys basketball teams in the area are off to great starts this season, including top-ranked Champlin Park. The Rebels hosted Coon Rapids on Parents' Night. Brian Smith jabs the ball loose and goes for a layup. Rolls out, but McKinley Wright is there to clean it up. It's 7-0 Champlin Park early. Wright attacks in transition and watch the spin move for the hoop. He leads a balanced Rebels attack with 16 points. Wright gets the steal and great save over to John. Ahead to Josiah Strong for the layup and foul for a 17-6 lead. Strong scores 10 points. Little defense here. John with a big swat, one of 10 blocks for him in the game. DJ Hunter steps up to nail a three from the corner. Rebels start to pull away from Coon Rapids. And then watch this one. Wright with the lob from half court to John for the dunk. Rebels lead 50-18 at halftime and win at 83-39. Also in the Northwest Suburban Conference, Maple Grove taking on Blaine, the second-ranked Crimsons. Jack Hutchinson giving the Crimson a 10-2 lead. Brad Davison takes the long pass and drives hard for the basket plus foul. Maple Grove's up 26-4. Hutchinson's shot is off, but Jawan Pickford elevates, and he gets the slam for two more. Bubba Horton open for three. He'll nail it, and the Crimson lead this one by 29 points. Davison drives in the final seconds of the first half and scores. Maple Grove routs Blaine 79-48. The Heritage Christian Academy boys basketball team is ranked 6th in the latest Class A state rankings. The Eagles met Providence Academy Saturday afternoon. Providence plays well early. Dylan Tervaze driving to the hoop for two, and the Lions take a 9-8 lead. Seth Halverson comes off the bench and scores 4 hoops for Heritage in the first half, including the putback basket. They lead by 3. CJ Woda knocks down a long 2 for the Eagles. They try to pull away. They're up 24-17 after that basket. Standout football lineman Gavin Blomberg goes to work inside for Providence. He'll get the basket and the foul, and they pull within 4 again. Late in the first half, Zach Johansson steps into the passing lane, gets the steal and layup. Heritage is up 7 at halftime. Second half, and Lions top scorer Mark Richardson goes to work, spinning with the post move, scored 2 of his 18 points. After a tough first half, Johansson comes alive for the Eagles, driving to score 2 of his 21 points. Woda bats the ball ahead to himself and gets the layup. Heritage pulls away from Providence for a 71-58 win. In girls basketball, Wayzata has a big game coming up this Friday at Hopkins. The Trojans took on Chaska in a non-conference game, trying to improve to 9-3 on the season. Wayzata had the size advantage on the Hawks. They take advantage of that. Cameron Hay to Callie Tyson, who scores, and the Trojans are up 11-4. Shaylee Olson contributes 6 points off the bench. Her jumper here stretching the lead to 10. Mimi Schrader drives into the lane, draws a foul, and scores. Sophomore helps Wayzata build a 36-18 halftime lead. Second half, Sydney Franks with a three-pointer, one of 6 threes made by Wayzata in the game, as their lead grows to 25. Emily Spindler hits another three. Wayzata's never threatened in the second half, and the Trojans beat Chaska 63-43. Many of the state's top gymnastics teams competed Saturday at the MGGOA meet in Brooklyn Park. This is Maple Grove's Nadia Abid. She turned in a great balance beam performance. She lands with the best performance of the day, in fact, scoring a 9.55. Champlin Park's Cheney New, one of the state's best prep gymnasts, scored a 9.25 on the uneven bars, later won the vault, was second on the beam, and she won the all-around title. Park Center's Haley Illy finished third in the state in the vault last year. She finished 6th in this meet, lands with a score of 9.625. Pirates team finishes 6th in the meet. Detroit Lakes may be the state's best team this year, and Molly Lingas finishes second overall on the uneven bars with a score of 9.375. Here are the team scores for the 8 schools in Division I. Detroit Lakes edges Lakeville North by 0.2 of a point to win with a mark of 147.2. Lakeville South is third, right ahead of 3 local schools. Champlin Park is 4th, Maple Grove 5th, and Park Center 6th. Cheney News all-around score 37.95. That's it for sports. Mike, back to you.
All right, John, thank you. Still ahead, a retired cop who surprises others gets a surprise himself. We'll be right back. Well, finally, a retired cop who's become one of Santa's best helpers. Steve Flesland helped start Brooklyn Park's Santa Cop program 25 years ago. Since then, he's spread joy to countless families, some in need of a financial lift and others who are trying to overcome difficult circumstances. In each case, the families don't know he's coming. In an interview a couple years ago, Steve explained some of the situations he's walked into.
There's a lot of places we've gone to where the people, they don't even have a chair to sit on, let alone a table. We go in and they're dumbfounded.
Tonight, the city of Brooklyn Park will honor Flesland. That's it for now. We'll see you again tomorrow.